こんにちは。日本語を学び始めたけど、本当にこれで合ってるのかな？なんか日本語ってやっぱり難しいと思っている方は、ぜひこの動画を最後まで見てください。Learning Japanese can be challenging for many learners, especially for those who are native speakers of language that are structurally different from Japanese, such as English. I've been learning languages for around 7 years, and currently I can speak English, Korean, and including my native language Japanese, and now I'm working on my fourth language, German. So today, let me tell you what kind of mistakes Japanese learners often make and how they can actually fix it. And also let me share one of the best approaches of learning Japanese. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Megumi. You can also call me MG. I was born and raised in Japan and I dream of traveling around the world. Through this channel, I'm sharing some language learning tips and also my language journey. Hopefully, I can meet more of the language learners in my life. Today, I'll go over 3 main topics. It will be anime phrases, Japanese culture, and Japanese kanji. Without further ado, let's dive into the video. Tip number 1. Do not learn Japanese phrases from anime. Now you might be like, wait, what? What do you mean by that? You say that learning Japanese from anime is good. Don't get me wrong. Learning Japanese from anime is really good. They pronounce it clearly and it's a really good story, and sometimes they teach us life lessons. But I'm saying do not try learning Japanese phrases from anime. Those phrases which are used in Japanese anime, there are quite a lot of anime version of phrases. I've seen so many Japanese learners copy some Japanese phrases from Japanese anime and they say that to Japanese people. But the thing is, we don't actually use those phrases in daily life. But 90% of people who said to me, I can speak Japanese, they say those phrases from anime. We can immediately tell you're learning Japanese from anime. That's really Japanese anime phrases. But it is still so cool that you can actually speak Japanese and you learn from Japanese anime. But if you're really serious about learning Japanese and you want to speak Japanese fluently, then you must know we don't actually use those phrases. If some Japanese people are using those phrases, then we often think, oh, okay, they're living in the 2D world. It's pretty much the same meaning as they're living in the different world. Because of the anime, it often shows us another world. Of course, there are some phrases that we don't actually use it. For example, the phrase 海賊王に俺はなる. You might have heard of it if you know One Piece. So some people use this phrase when they speak to Japanese people like あなたは何になりたいですか? 僕は日本語を話せるようになる. It's a good idea to switch some words from the correct sentence, but in that situation, it's quite an unnatural expression to reply. This expression, 私は blah 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 になる, we barely use in daily conversation. Instead, 僕は blah 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 になりたいです or 僕は将来 blah 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 になります. It's more natural. And another example, これやるぞ. It is also used in anime a lot, and we don't use that much in daily life. Instead, we say これやろう. Those two phrases some male characters from anime often use. So let me introduce you to some female characters often used in anime. 私言ったわよね. This blah 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 わよね. I actually use a language exchange app often, and I've seen some Japanese learners are using it. And also the phrase 今日暑いわ. I've never ever used in my life. We use 今日暑いね. It's more casual and natural for sure. I just shared a few Japanese anime expressions that we don't actually use, but there are more of them. If you really want to talk like anime characters, then you can learn from their expressions. But if you want to speak like native speakers, then I highly recommend learning Japanese phrases from real Japanese people actually using in daily life. In the previous video, I talked about learning Japanese from anime is really good, but remind yourself learning listening and pronunciation and the intonation and rhythm from Japanese anime is really good. It is an effective way to learn Japanese. But knowing about the fact that those phrases from Japanese anime are sometimes not natural if you use it in your daily life is also important and definitely helps your Japanese learning process. If you want to speak like native speakers, I recommend not learning Japanese phrases from Japanese anime that much. And if you are already intermediate or advanced level, do learn Japanese conversation from interview videos or from Japanese YouTubers. Someone who introduces Japanese culture would be nice. Tip number 2, learning Japanese culture. I've seen so many people who love Japan and they sometimes struggle with having a conversation with Japanese people. I mean, in any conversation. It would be text messages even. I had an English teacher who came from the UK, and one day he said, "Why don't you speak your own opinion in the class? Why don't you even have any questions? If I were you, I'd be happy to speak it." The teacher asked each of the students why. I told him you should select a respondent to answer the question, because we are not sure if we have that right to answer our own opinion. It feels like taking someone's opportunity if I answer it. Or some students are afraid to make mistakes. And he said, "You're the first person who convinced me." And I realized because I practice speaking my own opinion when I study abroad in South Korea, that's why I'm quite used to saying my opinion. I remember in the early days I was in Korea, I always struggled when people asked by my own opinion. Oh, what should I say? What's my opinion? I've never thought about it. I'm sure most people think Japanese people are shy, but in any case, you should ask why. Maybe they don't realize their own opinion. Maybe they're not used to it. Or they're willing to give opportunity to others so that other people can take this opportunity. We don't express emotion or opinion openly that much compared to other people. After I gained some experiences spending time in abroad, I've often been told other Japanese people by seeing my behavior or the way I speak, "You are like 海外って感じ." I think that means I express emotion or my opinion openly than other Japanese people do, because my appearance is more Japanese style, obviously. What I want to say the most is that do not judge by just seeing their behavior or their language without knowing about their culture. But I'm sure you're not. But try learning their culture. Knowing about their culture definitely helps understand their language. It's closely linked. Japan has a very unique culture. Even though in Japan, we have different cultures in each prefecture. It's really interesting. For example, I'm from Okinawa, Japan, and the way we speak and the way we live is quite different to people from Tokyo. And sometimes we even use a different language. If you're interested, please let me know, because I can make a video. Tokyo is efficiency focused, also known for its well-developed transportation system, and the people are punctual and always make an effort to be on time. It was also reported in world news. But it never happens in Okinawa. Sometimes the bus arrives around 5 minutes earlier and goes to the next station. Or sometimes they arrive around 15 minutes late, and when we meet our friends and we come to the meeting place around 30 minutes late. I would say that's the average. It's crazy, but it's normal for us. We call it Uchina Taimu, which means Okinawan time. Also, around 70% of the American military exists in Okinawa, so we have more Americanized Japanese culture. So I think some people are really good at speaking English for that reason. So learning Japanese culture is really deep and really historical and interesting. And most of all, it helps your understanding of Japanese language. Tip number 3, do not spend your time writing kanji. I'm sure you might know already, kanji is tricky. So please be smart. Do not spend your crucial time writing kanji. If you can write kanji, that would be cool. But at the same time, learning writing kanji is such a waste of time in my opinion. I hope my kanji teacher won't see this video, because learning the writing kanji system takes so much time. you need to spend a lot of time. Spending time learning reading kanji is still understandable because it is quite hard to live in Japan if you can't read kanji. Everything is written in kanji, but it's not a priority. Here's some pros of learning kanji. Number 1. You can write well-balanced characters. When you discuss something in Japanese, then you should explain to others. If you know how to write kanji, then people can understand it easily. If there's only hiragana or katakana, then it takes time to understand the meaning. Number 2. People think you are smart. If you can write neat kanji, people will think you are smart. I'm considered not smart enough because I'm not good at writing kanji. So I avoid writing kanji in front of people. Sorry to my kanji teacher. Next, here's some cons. Number 1. The number of Japanese kanji is quite large. Number 2. Each kanji often has multiple readings. Number 3. Each kanji has a correct stroke order. Learning kanji is really hard, even for native speakers. So doing it as a hobby is good. But nowadays, by typing, we can do pretty much everything. Do not spend your crucial time writing kanji if you're not interested. But someday, if I have any chance, I'll make a video about kanji. Kanji is difficult, but it is part of our culture. Here's summary. Number 1. Do not learn Japanese phrases from anime. Number 2. Please learn Japanese culture. Number 3. Do not spend time for writing kanji. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!